project. So, and then I sang in a band for a while, so then that's kind of like singing's poetry, anybody knows that. So that I have those, and then I wrote some other poems, and I got positive feedback, and then with my essays. And that's just what's kind of gave me the fuel to keep going. But as I write and write, I see the importance of writing, and just within myself. And I found it very important within myself, and that's hopefully by the end of the year I can portray why I feel that way. But I feel that there are tattoos on the world. That's what it, once you write something down, it's there for good. So it takes a lot of, I know a lot of people don't, some people don't write because, you know, once you set down something in pen and paper, then everybody can scrutinize what you say, know what you say, and they can read it. Then they can come back and say, oh, you read this, and it's just, it says a lot about your character because it's going to follow you through your life because it is there, and it's stapled into the world. Once you write it, it's there, and that's why it says a lot about your character because you can't lie on something. Because once you lie, I mean, as you live your life, somebody's going to come back. If it's gaining attention, somebody's going to come back and they're going to say, well, why'd you say this or why'd you say that? So when you do lie or write, you're going to have to make sure you don't lie. And it says a lot about, it's something you have to have I would say, have to have a lot of passion in, or something that you believe or have knowledge in. Because if you just write, I'm pretty sure it'll come back to you one day in shape or another. And as I like to say, as I was thinking about when I was writing, I got this idea of what's the difference in yesterday than 100 years ago. Both of them don't exist today. Is that as much as yesterday is, as 100 days is this. So when you write something, it can, like, as the stories of the Bible always portray into the life of today. So once you write something, that idea can carry on lifetimes. And so that's why I feel writing is important. Because if you have good ideas and you feel passionately about your ideas, once you set them in stone, then it'll carry on throughout life and throughout other people. And that's another reason I feel that's important. So I don't think, so just because you write it today, or if it was written 100 years ago, it's just, they still have the same importance. And people are still living the same lifestyles, just different settings as in today. And like just keeping your memories living on, just keeping your ideas that you formulated in your life, your experiences, and the mesh that you've made in your world, and all the things that have come together in your life and that form together. It just, you put those down on paper, and then now you can share them to other people. You can share them to your family, you can share them to friends, just share them to the world. And just, I feel that everybody's looking too much forward when there's a lot of stuff in the past. Like I just got through reading a book about the movement of the Cherokees into the Midwest after we started coming over. And it's just, it was a whole different standpoint than what we've all learned about. And it's just, that's the beauty of writing, because there are so many different standpoints out there that you can go and do different things. Like the whole world is out there in books, because it's a whole lot harder to get into media than it is anybody can write a book and put it down. So it's easier to go there than to get like a movie or something published. So I think, tattoos of the world. And then I like to think in metaphors. So as I was trying to think my presentation up, I was thinking that writing is like stagnant water under the hot sun waiting to evaporate. Because if you leave your thoughts in your mind, that's where it's going to stay. And once you die, then it's gone. And if you don't write it down, if you don't share it with other people, then it's going to leave with you. If you don't, and if you feel that any of your ideas are important, I think it is important that you write them down and put it in some type of form, either essay, poem, book, or whatever, just so that you can carry that on and that can be with you. Because like I said, that's my most important thing. I know when because when I first started writing, the reason I had like a big pause in my writing is as I was staying my watches in the Navy, I was writing a book, and I finally completed it. It was kind of shorter than what I do now, but I finally started putting it back to on computer. And I'd be gone so long in the Navy, I'd be out to sea, and then I'd come back, and then when I was at home was the only time I get to write. So if I was writing, and I'm sorry, but when I come home, you know, I'm gone away from my wife so long, and then when I come home, I spend a lot of time in writing. So it's just, I was spending a lot of time without her, and then we got in a fight one night, and since that was one of the things that took a lot of time away from us together, she went and erased my whole book. So I spent like that whole time writing that book, and it was just gone in an instant. So I kind of lost that whole passion like altogether. So make sure that when you are writing that you do have backups. Like now I have my book, I have it on me right now. I have it on my computer at the house, and I have it on another flash drive. So now, and like when I started writing, I had it on a notebook. Me and the girlfriend after, we get in a fight, and that's the first thing I would go for, my CDs and my books. And I'd grab those because I didn't want anything to happen for them, because it becomes, because that's a lot of time, and it's just right there, and it can be gone in an instant. So.
May I intrude, or may we intrude? Why did she delete all these stories?
Well, that's what I was saying, because
of the fight?
That took away my time from her. And it's just like, that's where I feel, I never really talked to her about it, because I sit there and watched it. She backspaced the whole thing, and I just sat there and watched her do it, see if she would do it, just to see what kind of character she had. But she did it, and I just sat there in disbelief. But the only thing I can think of is just, it was one of the things that took so much time away from her. So it's good right now that I'm single, because then I devote a lot of time to writing, because it does take away a lot of time from relationships and things that you want to do. If you have like a lot of stuff, which usually I can sit down and write, and not stop until my finger hurts. When I was typing my book, I'd have to stop actually, because I'm a pecker. So I was glad I was taking a keyboarding class, because I'm starting to learn the home runs. I'm still not good yet, but I'm a pecker. And about like halfway through the book, I just have to take breaks. I wouldn't be able to stop, because my joints would start hurting. So I'd have to actually take like a day off until they start feeling better, and I have to come back. So I need to hit keyboarding is important if you have a lot to write.
Are you trying to advertise yourself? Because I heard you saying that you're single. These are all single women right here, so
maybe he needs somebody to type the book for you.
make sure you don't delete his works, okay?
Do you still just write first, handwrite it, and then type it?
Yes.
So you still have your handwritten things?
That's why I feel like this. Like one day, I mean, if my books do become published and they gain some attention on a wide range, that they would be worth something one day. But it's a rough draft form, all of my stuff, because once what I've written down on notebook is totally different. Not totally different. That's kind of like the structure, the foundation. But I've added stuff and rearranged stuff, and when I finish the story, then you can go back. Well, I know what I had at the beginning that I wanted here, or if you develop something later on, you're like, well, I need to go back and maybe add something here to connect that later.
I find it a lot easier when we have to do our papers. I've tried to sit down and just do it on the laptop and couldn't. And I write because it's easier for me to write it.
That's
If I try to sit down and type, I can't.
My cousin, I gave him a copy of the book.
How do you get a book published? Because like my brother, he has an action for writing.
Right now, because I've been looking, it's not that easy, because there's different things. One of my big things right now, I get copyright. Because I'm afraid to send my work out and not copyright. And they say that you don't have to worry about anything, but it's just for me. I don't want to send out any of my work to the wide array of people and not have it copywritten and have it be mine. So right now I'm kind of stuck right there, because it costs, like right now I think it's $45 to copyright, but they're about to go up to $55. But that's why I feel copyrighted first, and then you can either self-publish, but self-publishing they have packages that are like 500 to like 700, you can go up to 900. They got different publishers. They have one publisher I was talking to, they're with Amazon.com, and you can go with them, but you put up all the money, but then they have their own website. And they'll also, once you get your books published, they'll send them to libraries, well, I mean, not libraries, but bookstores. And some of them will have a buyback package, like they'll send them to the bookstore, but they'll tell the bookstore if you don't sell them, we'll buy them back, so that we'll kind of get the incentive for the bookstore to take them. And then there's like iUniverse, they do self-publishing, but that's pretty much if you want to do it all yourself. And sometimes I felt like maybe to save money, because if you go through a publisher, they get the money. And I was feeling like if I bought it myself, and then if you start selling your books and you sell so many, then you can go to the publisher and like, listen, I've just sold this many, and so stuff like that. But then again, you can get agents. There's some agents that you can send your books to, and those agents have connections to many different publishers, and then they'll go to different publishers. Are you looking for this genre? Are you looking for this? And they'll try to find somebody that's dealing with what you're writing, and that's easy because you don't have to do all the work.